Hey guys, kinggath here with episode 36 of my Fallout 4 Sim Settlements Forever Let's Play. And as you can see, we're back at Starlight because it's time to get back to that raider life. Now, I'm not quite ready to do more story content necessarily. There are a few bits of it that I'll show you guys, but I don't want to jump into the big new quests that we're at with 4.1.6 yet. It's just too soon. I want to give people a chance to actually play through it themselves before they see it spoiled by me, especially because I know Outer Worlds just came out, so a lot of people just have had their hands plenty full with story content in other games to be bothered catching up with our stuff here. But as you guys can see, we have our military problem under control. So we've got a huge surplus of caps, we got a decent surplus of equipment down there. And yeah, we got Kit with us because we finished machining her, and we are now her keeper. So she's effectively like been programmed to just do exactly what she's been told. So she's kind of our little murder slave. She'll just go murder people for us, which is pretty sweet. Fits in nicely with this raider character. I also figured out what was wrong with the radio signal. So at the end of near the end of my last episode, when we were doing the gameplay part, we were trying to get this Project Vertigo working, and according to Nicola, the author, basically it doesn't have an immediate visible impact, and it doesn't play any sound because she was worried it was going to annoy the hell out of everybody if it was playing some sort of obnoxious sound. So instead it kind of gives you a passive buff where enemies in the area are more likely to drop their weapons. So we can just kind of leave that on because it doesn't play anything, so it's just kind of a passive little combat buff, so that's pretty sweet. But we are going to go in here and see what kind of scenes and stuff trigger. One of the things that we fixed with the patch, with the 4.16 patch, is there were a lot of scenes that were meant to play out for you between quests, and they just weren't for a lot of players. And so I came up with some things to try and fix that. So I'm hoping that we're going to see some of the scenes you guys haven't seen on camera yet play out, because there are quite a few of them. They're just little flavor scenes just to kind of bring the settlements to life and let you know you're actually in a raider town and not
White wall is blocking the view.
the giant white wall. Oh, this thing. Yeah, so some of these little scenes that are supposed to play out or to give you a feel that you're in a raider camp and not just wandering around another settlement with guys dressed up terribly.
Hey,
here we go.
Gemma. This chick just waltzed in here, wanting to talk to the boss. We told her to fuck off. That was before she killed Skunk and Freddy, before they knew what the fuck was going on. Said you and her used to roll in the same crew and asked to talk to you.
And what? You just rolled over and said, "Oh sure, no problem"?
That's
like
a real up-close shot on Jammer.
She creeps me the fuck out, man. No offense, but I'd rather take a beating over bringing it to you than get added to the pile out back myself.
Fucking idiots. Well, let's see her then. I don't see her around. Oh, shit. It's Sarah. Go over and keep her occupied till I think of how to handle this.
Keep her occupied? How the fuck do I do that?
Not my problem, asshole. Just do it. Go.
Wow,
hold the fuck up a sec, Sarah. Talk to you in a few. Whoa, perfect timing, boss. You see that blood-soaked chick over there? That's Sarah. She's got a couple screws loose, but she's a witch in a fight. She's temperamental, not gonna lie. We could use her, boss. Our crew is growing stronger, so I expect we'll have more like her showing up. They know how to take charge, but also take orders. It's that kind of mindset we want running our outposts, boss. It's your call, but she's useful. Hey, Sarah, come here. Boss just got back. You can introduce yourself.
Okay, so this Sarah character, if we can find her, she's on a force greet, which means that she's supposed to walk up kind of like those messengers in Skyrim, but it doesn't seem to always work, and it's probably just me not understanding how force greets work correctly. I had trouble setting those up the first time I ever set one up. So this might just need to go to add to the pile of improvements that get added later. But Sarah, there she is a character that we added in the leader's patch, the commander's patch. And once you recruit her, after having a little conversation with her, you can set her up as a commander, which I'll show you guys how to do. So,
Hey, you. So, you're the one, huh? Don't look like much, but appearances can be deceiving, and you have put enough settlements to the torch. Alright, here's the deal. I've been looking for a competent gang to roll with, and you fit the bill. I'm willing to throw my hat in with you, but if I do, Then I will be keeping a close eye on you. One wrong move, and you'll be picking slugs out of your noggin. Got it?
Wait a second. Are you threatening me?
Listen, I'll work for you, but I don't trust you. I've seen things. I know things. So you just watch yourself, because I'll be watching you.
Alright.
I understand. You have rules.
Good. We have an understanding. I think we can work together. If you're needing someone to take charge anywhere, I can run a tight ship. So any settlements needing a firm hand and a sharp eye, I'm your gal. Otherwise, I'll just pitch in wherever. Alright, boss. Just tell me where you need me.
You know, most people talking to me like that, I'd shoot in the face. But I want to show off this feature. So
yeah,
we're going to recruit you.
Let me show you.
Alright, so first thing to know about this feature is this might make you assume that you're going to be making them the leader when you do this, but in fact this just sends them there, and then you actually do the leader through the war planner's desk. So we'll go do that in a second, but we're gonna put you in charge of, let me think, so her primary trait, and I'll show you guys how to see the traits too, her primary trait is she is a good person to run attacks from, like if you start your combat from the settlements that she's in, you get a boost. So let me think of where we might run attacks from. I'm thinking that Zimonia we've been playing around with, so that might be a good spot to do it. I need to do a little more work over there, but that's been one we've actually been putting effort into keeping cleaned up, while where the rest of these outside of Starlight we've been kind of ignoring. So I think Zimonia will be a good one. If you do the same one as Jammer and you're doing the Raiders quest line, then it won't actually take. Jammer will just replace them as leader every single time. So, but what you do is first, that when you first recruit, you just choose the place and they go there, and then you get this little pop-up. And then we can use the War Planner's Desk, and it says it on there, use the map on War Planner's Desk to assign commanders. So, but I know some people I saw on the forums thought that wasn't clear. They thought they were setting them up as a commander just by that first option, and maybe we should just do that just to make it real clear, but for now, this is how it works. So
Head there now. I'll see you later.
Alright, so let's head over to our War Planner's Desk, which should be right in here. Oh, and I'm looking at my meters down there. I thought I had everything full, but it looks like rations are just a little shy. So we're gonna have to take a new. I think we're gonna take a new vassal today. I did scout out a couple when I was doing the Machine and Her quest line, so I got a couple queued up. All right, we're gonna assign for Outpost Simonia. So first you choose the settlement you want to set up a commander for. Assign leader. I'll have to remember to change that and make it commander instead of leader. So the commander system and the leader system are in the back end. They're exactly the same thing as far as the code's concerned. It operates the same way, but all of the traits that come from the commanders are very focused on all the mechanics introduced with Conqueror. So actually, if we look at explanation here, so we've got Seeing Red, Primal Fighter, and Bloodlust. We can see, and this is just like a little explanation of how this works, but I'm walking you through it, so you don't need to read all that. But basically, it explains what each of these are. So everybody has, all of the ones that I put into Conqueror, we put into Conqueror, have 3 traits. They've got one major, so it'll be something substantial that changes the way some piece of gameplay works in that settlement. And then there's one minor benefit and one minor weakness, and the weakness will have some sort of negative impact. And so you got to keep an eye on the different combinations and pick the ones that work well for the way you want to play out that settlement. So we're going to look at what these do. So Seeing Red, if we come down here, I believe it's a 50% damage buff to your raiders when you go. So we might run a raid with them right away. Give this a go. Let's see, where's that? Seeing Red. Increase warrior melee damage. That's right, it's for melee damage. And this actually works really, really well in combination with the cultists. So if you sided with Bedlam during the, or if you stayed at Dunwich during that part of the quest line, then Sarah would make an awesome commander for any settlements that you set up the cultist altars in, to get those as part of your military, because she will give them all a buff, and they all use melee by default. So Seeing Red is one of them, and then let's see, what were the other 2? I've already forgotten them. I should have jotted them down. I wish there were more powerful interface options for this. I think it was Bloodlust was one. So morale has a lesser effect on production of WRE, and that's wages, rations, equipment. I believe bloodlust was it, but I'll go double check her in a second. And then what that would mean is basically by default in the Conqueror Phase 2 mechanics, the higher your morale, the more wages, rations, and equipment are generated from that particular settlement. And so that is really, really important. Morale is really important for your vassals. Now, obviously, with our outposts, it's less of a big deal. And so one of the things that's interesting with the commanders is they can actually be put into a vassal as well as an outpost, just like you can put guards there. So you can actually send a commander, and some of the different traits are designed, if you think about them, they're designed to help or hurt a vassal or an outpost. And so you can kind of mitigate some of the downsides and make the upsides even better by putting them in the appropriate type. And I'm not going to go into and break down how each should be used, because I think that's actually some of the fun, is trying to figure out the best combination of that type of thing. But let's figure out what her other one was. In fact, and when you're on this menu, you can actually just press any of them to get back to the previous screen. It just takes a moment, so we'll let that come back up so I can see her list, and this time I will either jot it down or actually take the time to remember. So Primal Fighter, yeah, Bloodlust was one, so we don't want, basically, that Bloodlust, you don't want to put them into a vassal, which obviously goes nicely with her Seeing Red, because both of those encourage you to put her into an outpost. And then Primal Fighter, I don't remember what that one does, so let's go look that up. And these are mostly in alphabetical order. The exception is this faction reinforcements one, because it's actually done for several of the factions, and so it's just kind of the faction there is meant to be like a variable. So hopefully you guys figured that out if you were looking through this list. So let's see here. Did I already forget the name of it in my talking? This is why I sometimes need to shut up and pay attention. Where did you go? Primal Fighter, there it is. Reduces soldier equipment requirements. So this is actually a pretty useful one. So that means that the equipment requirements in that particular settlement will go down, so that we'll effectively gain more equipment on our meter, which is good because our equipment is not our highest one right now. We are overloaded with wages thanks to how much we built in, how many commercial plots we built in Starlight here. And one of the reasons that all my numbers went up so high is that we just fixed some bugs and stuff. So I think it was patch 4.15. We did some major bug fixes, and that ended up having a very positive effect on all of my numbers everywhere, which is why I'm suddenly in the green for most places. So we're gonna make her the underboss of Outpost Ammonia. It says leader here on this pop-up. If you see leader or commander, they're effectively interchangeable as far as the way the code is run in the background. And so sometimes it would have just been awkward for me to change the message without risking breaking some code in Sim Settlements, which I didn't want to do. So it's a weird way I have Conqueror and Sim Settlements interacting with each other. But there we go. So let's head over to Outpost Ammonia, and we'll run an attack from there and try and take ourselves another farm so we can get our rations up, and then that'll let us start recruiting en masse. Alright, this week Raybo has got us a couple of new settlements to check out. One of these is actually a little bit older, but just never made the list for some reason. I think it just kind of went under the radar. It's also possible this came out before we started doing Raybo's Mod Watch, and I just didn't happen to know about it at the time. But this is a settlement by Pra. We feature his mods quite often because he does very good work and is actually working on the Sim Settlements team. This is called Huntress Island Settlement. This is a new settlement on an island in Far Harbor. So if you felt like Far Harbor didn't have quite enough settlements, there is another great one for you in Huntress Island. And then last but certainly not least, this is a brand new settlement. It was just released a few days before I'm recording this. This is called Eleanor's Shack, and this is done by Deku78. Now there is apparently another mod with this same settlement or the same area set up as a settlement, but it wasn't on Nexus, so this author decided to go ahead and post their own version of it. And I'm told from Raybo this is a very high quality version of the settlement. It's all working correctly. The person has verified it works with Sim Settlement, so definitely a great one for you guys to check out watching my stuff. And then if I haven't already mentioned it some point else in the stream, I'm gonna just push out there a plug for a mod that's probably sitting in Hot Files right now, and that's Settler and Companion Dialogue Overhaul by Thuggysmurf. And as many of you know who watch my content, I've been critical of Thuggy because he's such a great modder as far as his skill set. but he puts out stuff that's a little too racy for my channel generally. But this one is right up my alley. It adds a ton of new lines to settlers to show that they have a little more appreciation for the work you're doing instead of always complaining to you. So love, love, love the idea of this mod. And then on top of that, it also adds new companion dialogue so that some of the core companions are a little less repetitive. So definitely go check out Settler and Companion Dialogue by Thuggysmurf. Oh, it's been so long since we've been here. So if you guys have tuned in all the episodes, you may remember that at some point we just wanted to get happiness up in here. It was tanking so hard, and we were just trying to show off the city plan. This is one of my favorite city plans from Rise of the Commonwealth. This is the complex version of it. And so I started spamming 2x2 recreational plots everywhere. Then we upgraded to level 1, and a lot of them got covered up by stuff. And I just left them because I'm like, all right, well, eventually I want to get to level 3, so we need 90 happiness. Well, now we're at 100 happiness, it looks like, or darn close to it, probably like 98, 99. So we can definitely upgrade to the next level. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll probably scrap some of these rec plots because we shouldn't need them, though I might end up just waiting to level 3. And you guys can use your imaginations to imagine what this place looks like without all the stuff clipping into each other. But I don't know. We'll see. It might be that I save scum. I'll scrap them so you guys can see this place at level 2 without those, and then I'll load back so that I can keep them in and make sure we can get to level 3 eventually. Because I don't want to get stuck micromanaging this. You guys have to see enough of my micromanaging settlements with Sanctuary, and in this particular case, we just want to show off this build and get a raid going. So let's go trigger the upgrade. I think I have upgrade set to manual. I mean, I gotta remember to build one of these desks back at Starlight. This looks so much more like Jammer than the fancy city planners desk we have by default. All right, let's go to the manage and upgrade city. Here we go. Still can't believe there's a level 3 to this place. These designers went crazy with this. All right, construction is complete. Let's go check it out. So like I said, this is the complex build, so it probably looks a fair amount different than what you might see on Xbox, or if you didn't go install the complex designs. And don't mind, I did try and scrap all those plots so that you guys could have a nicer view instead of the clipping ones, and some of them disappeared, but others didn't. Just the code in my save is so backed up terribly, and I've just never quite figured out how to deal with it. This is one of the wonders of this game, of any Bethesda game really, is that the longer you play a save with the more mods, the more likely things kind of start going to hell. But it eventually stabilizes, so every time I've had that happen, if I just stick around the area long enough, eventually those items will all disappear. But as you can see, oh, what's going on there? That is a Uit plot if I've ever seen one. The build's got a lot going on. This is I love the player home that we've got going on here, and this isn't even its final form. This is still, keep in mind, this is only level 2 of this settlement, so it still has one more level of complexity, and I think it gets a lot more fleshed out in the top row. And I think one of my favorite parts about this settlement is it gives me some serious Megaton vibes with that kind of curved bowl shape going on, with everything kind of surrounding one centralized area. In this case, rather than it being a nuclear bomb, it is what appears to be a nuclear power plant they're building right there. And yeah, so I love this design. I'm glad I remembered to come, or thought to come back here so that you guys can see it. I had totally forgotten we were doing this until I got here and noticed our happiness was through the moon, which is odd for a settlement that I'm not concentrating on. But all right, so I think we're gonna go find our war planner's desk, wherever I think I stashed it in here. Yep, oh, clipping through stuff. Let's move you out of there, and we'll get an assault started so we can go take out another settlement. So I happen to have scouted a couple of settlements while I was going through machining her, so I should have a few targets ready to go, and then we can start getting some of our rations going. So hopefully one of them has food, and I think at the time, because this save has been going on for so long, that most of the settlements that we're using are the Rise of the Commonwealth designs, so I should know which ones have farms, and then when I look at the list here. So let's start up a raid. Coordinate raids, there we go. Start new assault, establish vassal. But yeah, we didn't have, the city plan contest had barely gotten off the ground when I started this series, so there's not a ton of user-created city plans in this, though next save, when we start another character, and I don't know when. Uh-oh, Red Rocket Sanctuary, what happened to my scouting efforts? Oh, you know what? I bet that at some point my save crashed when I thought I had scouted them. So we might go out and do some scouting here, because I definitely don't want to turn Sanctuary into one. And Red Rocket is empty. So we're going to go... Could also be distance to those other ones. But I'll go get that sorted, and we'll be right back, and we'll get this started up again. All right, so I got our next assault queued up here. As you can see, we got a bear with us. We got a couple of forged in there. Now, I'm not getting too close to these guys, because I thought of a great way to open up combat here. You'll also see we're in Finch Farm. So it turned out... One of the reasons that we weren't getting any good vassal options is that we just didn't have any outposts in the area. And so Finch Farm seems like a perfect spot. I get a vassal here, or if I get an outpost here, I should have access to all sorts of settlements over here to attack as vassals, because you do have to have an outpost within a certain range in order to set up vassals. So this will be a good start. But we're going to open up with a little toy that we acquired during our Industrial Revolution times. And we're going to try it from way back here. So one of the cool things about the way this weapon works, if I can get it shot lined up, is that when you're far away, wherever you hit on the ground, usually that will draw in a lot of the attackers. So let's see if this works here. And then we'll pull out our trusty binoculars. Oh, let's hold our breath here. Beautiful. Let's go, boys. Oh, you know what we need to use? We haven't used it in so long. Oh, did I get him in one shot? Are you kidding me? That was insane. Well then. Sorry, guys, you weren't needed. None of you got to level up, but that was worth the fireworks. Well then, Euclid's may be a little overpowered for Conqueror. Oh my god. Oh, and as you can see, since I made the decision to effectively enslave Kit by going the Keeper route, I decided my character has clearly crossed the threshold. He's gone a little evil, and it's okay to get into the slave trade. And I actually, on top of it being for RP reasons, I know some of you guys are really into the slaver mechanics and others aren't, but I wanted to try it out because it will give me an opportunity to play with them myself, because I have only done it in testing, and to find some of the quirks and bugs and problems with it, because it is a mechanic that I would like to have more supported for the players who do find it an enjoyable way to play. And yeah, so I figured I would at least do one settlement so that we could find the bugs, because as you guys know from this, we find lots of bugs in it. Oh my god, so many corpses to loot. I'll do that off camera, but all right, so now we're gonna have to go do another raid to set up a vassal, because that you know, was... Oh, and look at that. Our food problem has been fixed. Fantastic. But yeah, that wasn't meant to go that quick. I was hoping for a jet-infused slaughterfest. And I'm going to kind of hang around here and wait to make sure that all these guys stand up. There was a code change a few patches back that made it so they all stay seated until all of the background code is done running, to avoid an issue where they would stand up and just start fighting you. So I'll meet you guys at the next raid target. Okay, so we didn't actually leave Finch Farm yet. I decided I wanted to talk about some of the mechanics here, because I even got tripped up, and I created most of these mechanics. So I'm sure some of you guys have run into the same issue before, and I just totally spaced on it, and now I have it resolved. So first off, let's explain where I am right now. This is Osplat's city plan for Finch Farm, and he's used this crazy, I think it's the fusion reactor from the Institute, as a player home. So it's got my desks in here. And then, so what I ended up doing is I went to Outpost Zimonia with the plan of launching the assault again on another vassal, and still I didn't have access to them. And then I remembered that the reason is you have to make the assaults from within range, from an outpost that's within a certain range of those, and that was to encourage spreading your army out and having different commanders that would have an effect, so you actually have more use for outposts than just having your soldiers sleep there. So That was done by intentionally by design. It might change in the future just to allow you to just run assaults from any outpost, or maybe as an option. I'm not sure, but that is why you may be running into an issue where your vassal options aren't showing up where you'd expect. You actually have to run your assaults from the nearby outpost. So I went and did that. So now we can jump over. We'll meet our troops outside of Crew Manor, which we're going to take out because I think that one actually has a mix of stuff if we're using the ROTC city plan. I'm not sure if we are or not. I know the other settlement we had scouted was Kingsport Lighthouse, and that is definitely using the ROTC city plan, and the Kingsport city plan from ROTC has no farms in it because we just designed it as a trading post, and so it wouldn't have helped our ration situation, which technically right now is fixed. As you can see in my meters down there, we've got a positive, we got a surplus and everything, but I want to boost up the surplus to our rations more so we can keep recruiting more troops, especially because the other thing I did off camera was I distributed some more patrols from Finch to all the vassals around here just to make sure that we have full control, because one of the things with patrols that you got to watch out for is that when your warriors die in combat, the warriors are the ones that actually provide the majority of the control benefit on the patrols. And so if all your warriors die, then all of a sudden your control can tank. So having patrols configured from multiple outposts to vassals is a really good idea. And so I went ahead and set that up. All right, so I'll meet you guys over for some raiding action and hopefully lots and lots of jet. All right, here we are with our little death squad. I don't remember why everyone's highlighted. Oh, it's from my helmet. I was like, why is everybody highlighted red? All right, so let's get in there and do this. Let's take out some. You guys ready? Well, let's go. Hey guys, this is for you. Bad news, I got long-lasting jet. Whoa. This is for you. Beautiful. Oh, forgot how good. Oh yeah, we got some rank ups. I don't know how many guys we lost during that, but some prospects. Very cool. We were down to basically all recruits. I lost most of my higher level guys in various combats in the past. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, that was nice and easy. Probably because I'm now level 40. My gear is insane, and I've got jet that lasts damn near forever. But I'll take it. All right. I think that's a good kickback into the raider life. So we're gonna head down to Sanctuary now, do some building. Endorsement time. Now, I only have one to endorse today, but I always like to remind you guys to go endorse those mods. This is the best way you can show your support, especially to mods that just come out, to make sure that they get their time to be in hot files, which is a really important thing. Otherwise, the mod kind of just goes into obscurity and very few people will find out about it. This one already made it to hot files, but I'm still going to endorse it because I happened to catch it today, and it immediately had an impact. I saw, you guys didn't get to see it on camera because my computer has crashed over and over again this evening, but the settler and companion dialogue overhaul, I immediately heard a bunch of new settler lines, which was really awesome. I highly recommend this mod. Very cool. And yeah, if you want to quickly endorse your mods, just go in your Vortex system on mods, change status to enabled, and then you're endorsed undecided. You get a quick list of the ones you haven't endorsed yet, and you can just slam that thumbs up on all the ones you love right there. And like I always say, if you really love one and you really want to give encouragement to that mod author, right click it, go to open on Nexus Mods, and go leave them a comment. Let them know what they did right, let them know what you love about it, and that will encourage those mod authors to keep doing more, because we feed on positive feedback. All right, we're back at Sanctuary, and unfortunately, this section is going to be a little short today. In fact, incredibly short, because my PC that I play and record on is got some sort of hardware failure going on. I have blue screens trying to record this section like 5 times. I can't tell what it is, and because I've been actually having this problem for a couple of weeks now, even while just working on mods or video editing. So I know there's some sort of hardware fault, but I think it's finally coming to a head today, and so I'm gonna have to stop and go fix that. So I'm gonna just go over some quick changes that we're doing here, and then I'm gonna show you guys a little trick that I am going to do in this particular build that will get me access to some items that I can't build otherwise. And you guys can see how to do that and use console commands to do the same. So if you watch the talk with Don that I did a few weeks back, you'll know that we talked about some things to spruce up this entryway. So one of the things we came up with was to reverse the signs. So originally I had the Welcome to Sanctuary sign up close by the entrance, and it looks just way better right here. It looks kind of like an arrow natively, so now it looks like it's kind of pointing in to the bridge. And then the big sign putting that up there, and I scaled it up a bit, solves a problem I mentioned quite a few episodes back, which is that I wanted something a little more magnificent for the entryway to make this look more badass, considering how high-tech our little civilization has become here. So the Sanctuary sign kind of serves that purpose nicely and makes this feel complete, whereas before it felt like it was missing something up there. So it kind of killed two birds with one stone there. And then the next thing we were going to do, and I'm not going to do it today completely because of my hardware problems, but I'm going to talk about what I'm going to do, and I'll probably end up doing a lot of this off camera anyway, is that we're going to turn this house and this little area out in front of it into kind of a trader's, like a caravan section. So what I want to do is put one of those Bunker Hill caravan things there, which will draw in the caravans, and then it'll look like this is just a nice extension of the commercial district so that the caravans kind of come in, set up shop, and try and sell their wares as well. So I might set up some counters out here and things like that to just make this all feel like this is kind of a place for them to rest, relax, store goods, and then set up some shop temporarily before they head out again. So we're going to do all sorts of stuff like that, but I wanted to show you guys how you can place things with the console and actually make them get caught by transfer settlements, because that's something that natively they won't, so that when you do stuff like this, the items won't get detected in your blueprints, and then players won't be able to see them if they use your city plans or transfer settlement blueprints. So we're going to first look up that caravan thing. So I'm going to do help caravan 4 and then Fern. And what happens here is the 4 tells you the type of object you're searching for. 4 means every type. And then you can use a four-letter combination here that represents a certain type of object, and it'll filter for only those. So if I do this, there we go, the trade caravan post. And the reason I'm console commanding this in is because I am nowhere near the point in the main story where we could unlock that thing, and I'm just not ready to do it yet. So you could use a mod to unlock this as well, but I figured this is useful to show you guys this particular trick. So the first thing you'll know is when you do a place at me like that, the object ends up all crooked. If you use place everywhere, you can just push the numpad 0 key and that'll straighten it out. And then we can place this like normal. Now, one thing, there's a problem here, is that if we go to export with transfer settlements, it won't detect this object. And not because I console commanded it necessarily. It doesn't actually care about things like the quest requirements. Like transfer settlements doesn't care about that at all. But this is not set up as a proper workshop item. Yeah, no, excuse me. So to do that, you need to link it to the workshop workbench with a certain keyword. And so I happen to know the workbench ID in Sanctuary is 250 FE, but to get that, you just click the workbench in console and it'll show up right here as an 8-digit hex code. If the first numbers are zeros, you can skip them, and so for Sanctuary, it's 000250 FE. And I just know that because that's my test settlement I use for most things, and I've played and modded this game for like 3 years straight every day. So I just happen to have that memorized. But you can do that in any settlement. And so what you do is you do set linked ref, and then the workshop object reference ID, and then the keyword you want to link on. In our case, we want workshop item keyword. And workshop item keyword is a special thing you link items to the workbenches on so that they act like normal settlement objects, and that's what something like transfer settlements uses to detect and find those objects. So doing that, and now it's all set up correctly. Now, a couple of things here. The only way you will know for certain you have the workshop selected is if you have the mod Better Console F4SE installed. I highly recommend it. It adds a lot of useful data, like all this stuff on the right here. And if you push Control, it adds all these extra submenus information. It's super, super useful if you're a power user. But even if you're not a power user, just getting access to the name of things you click on in console and this stuff over here is pretty darn useful. If you're playing with the Project Blueprint mods, we actually added a shortcut in with one of those mods, and it's CQF KGPBP link, and then the object ref of the object you want to link. So in our case here, FF02838C. And if you run that command, it detects the workshop ID automatically as long as you're within the workshop bounds. If you're not, if you're trying to link something outside, you would need to still use this vanilla command to do that. So this is a little shortcut that you don't have to find the workshop ID for, a little easier with the Project Blueprint mods, but we don't have that here. Or we do have it here, but we're not going to use that because I just happen to know things. So I will do all this stuff off camera when I'm sure that I have enough stability in my PC to record for a little longer. And then one more thing I wanted to show you guys. So this bridge right here, this is actually done by a mod called Evil Vikings Sanctuary Bridge. And I believe someone has mentioned to me that Evil Viking has changed their username. Now they go by Ranger Dave or something like that. But anyway, the point stands that this is from a mod. And I was concerned that I would lose this because I really like it and I think it fits with my scrappy theme. And I wanted this in my design without you guys having to have that mod. So I started clicking around these items with console. I'm going to show you guys what I found. Is that it shows locate Evil Viking 13. And this is one of the things that Better Console F4SC is super useful for. But the actual definition of the object comes from Fallout4.esm, which that means Evil Viking, while he built this in the CK, used exclusively vanilla items to do it, items that exist in the game, which means that I can actually arrange for these to end up in my city plan, and they'll work for you guys whether or not you have that mod installed, which is pretty cool. Obviously, I'll give him credit in the mod file when we do this, because it is his design. I don't want to take credit for that, but we do want to use this design because it's perfect. So what I was able to do is just start clicking on all these items and then pushing the up arrow on my keyboard in console to repeat this command, the set link to F250FE, and I just linked all of these objects that he used to my workshop, and now Transfer Settlements is going to detect them all as part of my settlement and use them. And even if they were objects from another mod, you could still do this. It would just be then that that person would have to have that mod in order to gain access to those objects in your city plan or your Transfer Settlements blueprint. But in this case, because Evil Viking happened to use vanilla items, it just makes it all the easier for us to do this, and we can use it so that it doesn't become a requirement. So that's really awesome, and I love this trick for either spawning in items or linking in random items. Like another trick you can use this for is if you have scrappable items in the settlement that you want to add into your blueprint, but you don't want to have to rebuild them yourself. So all these random items, for example, that I picked up that are junk that were laying around the settlement, you can click on them and do the same thing, and those can get linked to your settlement. Nice little trick there. So watch for in our final build. This is going to be much more caravan themed inside and outside of this house. I'm thinking right along here I'll put some little shop stalls. We just like blank animation markers. They're not going to be actual functional stalls, but they will actually encourage NPCs to go lean on them, so it looks cool. Maybe an extra Brahmin trough over here. And I'll clean up this place, clean up all the junk, set up the chairs, maybe fill up one of these rooms with shelving and things like that. We'll make it look nice, like it's actually functional there. And then I think after that, everything else I need to do is going to be stuff I do off camera. Other than lighting, I'll probably do one more episode of building of this level 3 where we light this place up at night real nice. And also we need to clean up this backyard over here, but I'm probably going to just scrap all of those generators and call it a day. But anyway, so I think we're getting close to having level 3 done, and then we can start regression. Apologize, guys, that you didn't get to see me do more of this design on camera, but I'll definitely show it to you once I get a chance to actually build it.